Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Bros Think Big podcast. This is the show where we talk about the simple and yet complicated ideas of self-improvement. Tune in and join us as we become the best versions of ourselves, just so that you guys can too. And remember to like and subscribe for more. Today we were fortunate enough to bring on the CEO and founder of Blaakout Training and the co-founder of the Fence podcast with us. So with that being said, Mitch, come on in.
Let's go, Mitch. Gotta finish his.
How you doing?
What's up?
Yeah.
So, Mitch, we brought you on today because we want to talk about how you really got started with everything. You have the successful business going, and then a lot of people adore your quote-unquote lifestyle. So why don't you tell us how it started in the first place?
Yeah. So, how far back did we go? Let's just go from COVID. Okay. All right. So, I was a bartender and personal trainer at the Knack, and I think most of you guys are familiar with that, right?
You were a bar trainer too. You were at the bar.
Bartender, yeah.
Oh, sweet.
So I was a bartender, and
Yeah, that's sick. Is that?
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
So this was probably like 2.5, 3 years leading up to COVID. Okay. And that's why I was asking about joining and all that stuff, because there was like a lot of cuts and different people coming in.
I joined in 2022, late 2022.
2022. Okay, so it was after my time. I came back briefly when they reopened after COVID because they wanted my expertise helping restart the bar and train the new bartenders.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But I was training there, 2 years leading up to that. And then I had an idea pre-COVID because, I'm from the trailer parks. Like I was born in Philadelphia, grew up in Levittown area. You guys familiar?
Yes, sir.
Near Penwood Crossing?
That doesn't ring a bell.
That's all right. And anyway, so, being around money was a little bit different. And so at the Knack, when I was training there, I realized how high of a price tag people place on their health. And like they have a different budget than the average Joe Schmo. And so I had this idea. I was like, oh, wow, these people have this budget for fitness. And I had gotten a DUI years ago, right? So I was sitting in my Uber. I would Uber between my 3 jobs. And I was talking to this one Uber, and he was talking about this business, this mobile car wash business that would like show up with these eco-friendly mats that would soak up all the suds so it wouldn't run into your grass, right? And it was like this whole service. And I was like, I bet Newtown could benefit from a personal training service that was all-inclusive, right? Because what's more precious than your time, as I said to all of you guys as you were asking about my business. So anyway, so I had the idea before COVID. I pitched it off of some of my business owner clients, and then COVID came to town, and it just kind of felt like the right time. Kind of like a now or never, right?
That's a great fucking idea, solving that problem for him, especially when COVID hit.
Yeah.
Seizing the opportunity you took it. My first question is, where the fuck does the Knack have a bar? Is that?
You don't know about that?
They have like a whole water resort outside and stuff like that. Dude, we went there. Dude, you were literally there at the Knack. He was there at the Knack a couple months ago.
Really
No, I actually didn't see it either. Outside? Outdoor?
You know where the pool was? You know where the pool was?
It's outside. We left our towels there.
I literally, you went in the kitchen.
Wait, doesn't that sound really counterintuitive to have a bar at a gym though?
Oh, absolutely, yeah, but it's freaking
He literally walked
Newtown.
next to the bar. I don't know what he's talking about.
I've been there like once or twice.
Well, you might not realize it's a bar, I guess. You know what I mean? I think
the cold plunge.
Fusion.
So I wasn't focusing on the bar.
They have a cold plunge at the Knack now?
They did. It was like for an event. It was
A
like
trainer brought it there.
Huh, okay. That's pretty sick. Was it inside?
Outside.
Outside.
Well, yeah, that
The
was
training was inside, obviously, but the cold plunge was outside.
Okay.
So how did you actually get started with? You had the idea. What made you take action on it?
Right. So, I was able to talk to a bunch of business owners, and they were all giving me positive feedback. Mm-hmm. And then COVID came to town, and I don't know if you guys are younger than me. So just list all your ages real quick.
19.
19, 18?
19.
20.
20. Right. So, but you've probably still, had an experience where you had a great idea or you had a thought. Maybe you wrote it down, maybe you didn't, but maybe it nagged in the back of your mind. And either you did it or you somehow talked yourself out of it. You ever heard the term paralysis by analysis?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people's problem, I feel like. They have these great ideas. It could absolutely be viable and very successful. But the more research they do, the more they look at the numbers and, like the statistics of how few businesses actually succeed. They're going to talk themselves out of it or just sit on it. But so I didn't want to do that. And I just thought to myself, if I don't do it, then I'll just always regret it because I won't know. Would it have worked? Would it have not? And so I just freaking did it.
Why do you think that is, though? Why do you think people don't, they have these big ideas, but they don't execute it?
Very simple.
How's it simple?
Scary.
Well, so my greatest
Unknown.
strength is my greatest weakness. It's I'm more of I like to call myself a man of action. And so a lot of times, like, I have a good idea, good or not. That's always subjective, right? And so I just do it without doing any research. And that's kind of what I did with Blaakout training.
That's part of your identity. Like, you call yourself a man of action.
Right.
As you think so you are.
Blessing and a curse, you know?
I'd say it's more of a blessing.
And then I just figured it out as I went.
Yeah.
Whereas other people, they do all the research and know all the numbers beforehand. Me, I do that on like the back end, if that makes sense.
But don't you think sometimes looking into it can be more scary? And like you overthink more, and then that's when you might be like, well, it's not worth it.
That's the paralysis by analysis, man.
Yeah, it can be
Right.
both ways.
Here's
But
the typical, Hermosi explains it. First is you see a friend that's doing extremely well in that business space. So you think, oh, awesome. If he can do it, why can't I? So you have this extreme high hope. And then you can actually do it, and you realize, fuck, this is 10 times harder than I thought it was.
It's false
not
hope
that easy.
syndrome.
It's false hope. But if you are able to surpass that point, there's where everything gets good. It's just exceeding that point where you realize that it's not as easy as it is. Only 1% make it, but if you continue to push forward, and you can't just show up, you have to there's levels of preparation towards it.
Mm-hmm.
If you show up and you prepare hella, then that's where you explode the bubble.
Yeah. You see, here's the thing. I love the way you said that too, because like literally a year and a half ago, I was managing like 4 different things. I was like
Yeah.
learning cryptocurrencies, like day trading, drop shipping, and like remote closing, right? All 4 of those. And I was taking simple notes.
Impressive. That's awesome, man. Good research. I love that. That's
I obviously didn't make a single profit on any of those. So
Right.
it wasn't too impressive.
okay, but
right?
you're dabbling.
But here's the thing. It was paralysis analysis. And why? I didn't know which one to choose. What everyone says is you pick one like high income skill, whatever, and you just stick to it, right? Which is what I should have done. There's the argument of, oh, I'd rather be the jack of all trades, blah, 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 whatever. But if you want to be like the greatest at one of them, you have to stick to that. The reason why I couldn't do all 4, and the reason why I think paralysis analysis even occurs, is because of this thing called clarity. I had a lack of clarity on which would be the right decision, because when I'm deciding between all those 4 things, I want to make sure that I don't fuck up. I want to make sure that I choose the one that will get me to the highest level of success possible, right? And there's that lack of clarity. But the problem is that clarity is what stunts you. It stuns you. It keeps you frozen there and doesn't let you progress. What you should have done is you just have to go with one option and just stick with it, because that's how you actually will get clarity. You'll understand through that process, yeah, this isn't for me. Let me go on and try the next one.
Conversely, I mean, you're all in college, right?
no,
Yeah, no.
No.
these two we're not.
All right, but you've been in college. Like, you all graduated.
Well, high school, yeah.
Okay, all right. So something I see a lot is kids, you know, they, at a young age, you know, you're forced to pick a major. And then that's going to be the rest of your life. And something you see all the time, and I'm sure you guys can relate, is people changing that major once they get a little bit of the taste of whatever it is they thought they wanted. And so how will you have any clarity if you don't dip your toes in all the different pools?
Mm-hmm. And that's true. It's just the idea that, you know, whatever that you like, you have to really fully send it the furthest with. And so whatever, you know, major that you
So I
want.
applaud you for trying all those 4 different things. Did you settle on one?
What?
Did you settle on one?
Day trading. Yeah, I did
Okay.
settle on one. So I
Alright.
was in.
I got some hookups for you on that as well. I have a older client of mine. He owns a catering company, and then he day trades in all of his free time, and he has like a professional coach. He's gone through like 3, and that's a freaking journey too, man. There's
It
no
is.
get rich quick
All of
thing.
them. All of them. They're
You're gonna have to invest yourself. You're gonna have to lose a little.
Exactly.
A lot of guys, like a lot of people my age, they were really sold that get rich quick. It just goes right into the narrative of the instant gratification world that we live in. And so when all these gurus were out here to drop shipping, make money like tomorrow or
Super
some
fast,
shit,
yeah.
I know.
it really just fucked with everyone's heads. And once they tried it, once they like, wow, like I can try drop shipping, like Josh said, they're like, wow, like, you know, they thought it was really hard, and now they don't do it.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of people my age got fucked with that. You know what I mean? A lot of people did.
It's
People profited
because of
from it.
social media a lot,
Yeah.
and people are very good salespeople. You know, and so you're gonna click on that clickbait, and you're gonna. I hope nobody bought like a free course or anything, well, I guess it wouldn't be free if you bought it.
I bought a lot of courses.
But you get the free course, and then you pay for the additional,
Yeah,
right?
It's all part of this.
You know, and it's just about play to your strengths, I think.
I remember watching one of you guys' podcasts. It was the Calories In, Calories Out podcast.
Okay.
And you guys were talking about how a lot of these people on social media, especially influencers, they teach things that they think is certain. Like they're certain on, oh, if you do this, like you're good, but no way is the way. Like you guys mentioned
There's
that-
no one way, right?
Exactly. Like everyone's different, so therefore it's like that's why you need a personal trainer to kind of customize yourself to your whatever they want to do.
Right.
But what do you think about
I
like
want to, before you...
Everybody
push
but the
forward,
fuck in.
I want
Let's
to speak
go.
on the behalf of you guys talking about that clarity stuff, I think I watched a video that explained it perfectly. And Mitch, I want to hear your thoughts on this, which is it's the, I don't even know the name of the method, but it's basically two things. One is you have a focus. You have to be focused on a specific subject. So, for example, you should be focused on day trading because that's what you want to pursue. Whatever it is, rather than ever being...
Josh,
you don't
talking to
wanna
Mike.
I'm sorry. Rather than just pursuing only one, there's three options. You pursue only one, you focus that, which was what you say. That, then you lose the opportunity of finding new networking opportunities, different shit like that. You're still 20 years old. 18. Fuck. My own brother.
What a fucking dickhead.
And then there's you don't want to go fucking explore 6 different shit. You get nothing out of it because you never. So the thing that he said is it's focus. You focus on one, but you never exclude any other opportunity.
Yeah.
And I think that's the perfect method, especially for our age. Maybe a little different for you, but
I'm not that old. Come here, break.
I know you're not.
Calm down.
You're not. But
Bro took that personally.
About that approach, rather, and I really loved it. It's the idea of being. Let's say you want to be a lawyer, focus on being a lawyer, but don't ever shut down any other opportunity presented towards you.
So what do I think about that approach? I think that is life. Find something that you can be as passionate about as possible. A job is a job. It's a job. It's a job, regardless of how passionate, how much you love it, right? And that's what I'm doing right now. I was lucky enough to ride that wave up during COVID. The business was successful. I brought people on my team. I got 5 people working for me, girls and gals. You know, I'm able to live off that. Okay, and scale. And now I'm exploring the podcast. Me and my wife launched it's a very slow launch, and it's like a slow process. We're doing it in our free time, but we have a Launch Lab Syndicate is another one of our businesses. And so it's to help. It's usually, technically like an 8 to 12 week course trying to teach the in and outs, legal, creative, social media, marketing of launching a business for a service-based business. And so now I'm able to explore other options, and see what else I want to fall in love with or make money with.
That's sick. Can you break that down for me? Like, how did you get started with that?
Launch Lab?
Yeah.
Well, my wife, she owns, it's called Let's Learn Tutoring. She launched that during college and did it part-time. And then once she had her teaching degree, she taught for almost a year, I think, and realized how flawed the educational system is. And so then took it full-time. And now she's got a W-2 employee. She just hired a part-time. She's got over 10 to 15 people working for her. They're international. She makes money. And so if anything, she's definitely a better business owner than I am. And so we just collectively kind of combined our knowledge. And so we're just trying to pursue that slowly, low and slow.
No, so it's all like, it's not niched down into one thing, just more
It's niched to service-based industries.
Okay.
But
though that's like all around, because you mentioned like a whole bunch of different things. But they're strictly like for services?
So service-based industry would just apply to like anything that you are working with a client on. So it could be teaching, could be personal training, could be anything, you name it, anything that you are one-on face-to-face with a client and you're selling a service where you're there with that client, as opposed to like drop shipping or virtual training, stuff like that. If that makes sense.
Is this done with you, done for you, or do it yourself?
We teach you whatever it is you need to know. We have a template, and then whatever caters to you most will make sure you're educated on it.
I think it's really safe to assume your child, whatever gender, is going to have a business themselves.
I hope so. When I was younger, I had a landscaping business. I cut lawns.
Oh, yeah. That's hard.
And then I got into the service industry, and I was like, oh, this is more money, less physical labor. But, then I launched my business, and I was like, I was always supposed to own a business.
Were you, like, afraid before to launch your business?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Like, what really put you over the edge, you know what I mean, to actually go ahead and do it even though you felt fear?
Just the thought of, like, living the rest of my life not knowing what could have happened.
Yeah. Goes right back to what you were saying earlier, right?
Yeah.
And I know Sasha was, like, talking about, like, clarity, like, this whole thing about clarity, and, like, so many people are uneducated about so many things, like, fitness-wise, nutrition-wise, there's so much information, it's, like, scrambled, right?
Right.
And so people like us, like, that's why we want to start a podcast, right? To kind of give people the right information, or, you know what I mean? So my thing is
things that we knew that other people might
right, you
not
can only
have.
share, and that's why you have guests on.
Yeah.
To share the things you're not
that's
knowledgeable on, right? That's exactly why we have guests on our show.
My question is, like, how do you stay focused, right? How do you, like, actually, with the whole, like, all this information being flown around, like, how do you stay focused and stuff?
How do you stay clear in your head?
Yeah. How do you have that clarity?
That's
More
a
like a
loaded
routine
question.
that you might do. Like, say your diet, fitness, like everything that you tie into your life that gives you clarity.
Well, I will say, fitness-related topic. I've always been into sports, and then transitioned into weightlifting as I got out of high school, and
What sport did you play?
basketball mostly. I played a year of soccer. I played a couple years of flag football, but basketball. I used to be a baller.
Okay.
I don't know about now so much. I'm a lot heavier, but yeah. As far as fitness related, I've gone through highs and lows. When I launched, I've gone through unhealthy phases in my life, maybe where I didn't make the time for my fitness, and then launching a business and being a personal trainer. Like sometimes, dude, imagine working in a gym all day and then you got to make time to work out in the same gym.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be there.
Yeah.
Right, like you want to just get home, like right. So I've slacked off at times, but I always find that when I am consistently physically active, then I am my best self, and I'm more
Productive.
magnetic, productive. Just charismatic.
I was gonna say that. They're like charismatic.
And just like in general, like well-being too.
The blood's flowing, the testosterone's higher. You
Your
feel
energy
more in
levels,
touch.
everything.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't know if that answered your question at all. Actually, I feel like that was just a part of the answer.
My question wasn't really too specific. It was kind of.
It was a little
vague.
broad. Yeah.
That's my fault. But I hope where I was trying to get at is I know you and Gar talked about how a lot of people a lot of influencers their information is kind of misstrued. How do you kind of shuffle that out and
Thank
kind
you
of
for breaking that
give the
down.
right information?
Right. So it's all subjective, and I'm a big advocate for there's no one way to do anything, whether it be fitness or not. And so, as a personal trainer, I guess and as a lover of fitness, you just need to make sure you're educated. I always say we're perpetual students because you can get a certification, but then half a year down the line, 50% of the crap that I was taught, I actually disagree with now, and I form my own opinions. So just educating yourself, practicing it in the field in real life.
How can they get educated?
How can they get educated? Follow At The Fence podcast.
Link in the description. I forgot to mention that.
How did you personally get educated? Through experiences, through learning certain things, listening to people?
I'm an advocate for more certifications is not the better. Get the certifications that pertain to what you want to be good at, and then you need field experience, and you need to do your own research. YouTube, freaking Google, use it. It's a huge asset. It's a resource. And read a lot of books, get your specialty certifications, but more certifications doesn't mean you're a better trainer.
I mean, you know what you're doing just because you passed a couple tests.
Right, dude. You got to live it.
So anyone can regurgitate information.
Right. 100%.
It's about whether or not you can implement it.
I hope that answered your question.
No, it did. I think so.
Very, very well.
But yeah, just you gotta believe it in your heart. One of the core values of Blaakout training is oh shit. But you need to develop the courage and confidence within yourself to lead people in what you believe to be right.
Oh.
And if you don't believe it in your heart, how are you gonna sell something? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I have that confidence.
Yeah.
He said it himself. What is it you told me yesterday? If you're a salesman, you have to be honest.
The best sales technique is 1, knowledge about your product, and 2, confidence.
You gotta believe in
Speak
it.
volumes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They speak more than anything. That's why the clickbaits works. Is you can confidence. I think is something that you can. It's like energy.
It is exactly. Yeah,
transports
that's all
into you.
confidence really is.
You know when somebody's confident. You can just see it by their expression. It's a facial.
Absolutely.
Not facial. I'm sorry. Body language.
And it's obvious too when it's there. You won't.
Honesty has to be one of them too.
Yeah, that's what I said. Honesty. Oh, did I not?
You said knowing the
The
product
point that I actually
and
was
confidence.
talking to
Yeah.
Saj yesterday was the best technique is or was it today?
Yesterday.
Honestly,
Mm-hmm.
there's three. There's 3 core pillars.
Mm-hmm.
I want to hear more from Sadula over there.
What do you want to hear?
I just want.
I was actually gonna ask you how you got started in fitness.
Yeah, don't hold back.
Where
man.
did the idea of why'd you transition to weightlifting? How about that?
That's a great
From
question.
sports.
Yeah. So, played basketball, got into it 5th, 6th grade, kind of late, I guess, as far as, kids are doing pee wee leagues and stuff, but I didn't have direct access till middle school. And then I just wanted to be stronger and better. I'm a very competitive person. And I eventually got into body weight workouts, I think 9th or 10th grade. Then got a Planet Fitness membership and didn't really start truly strength training until I was 21, but I was always just, I want to be better than you. I hated losing.
Were you just not as
very
muscular,
similar
and that's what you?
I was very lean, very quick,
Very lean?
fast,
Okay.
wiry. And then
Okay.
the true strength training, I'd be happy to help any of you guys with that, by the way. Compound lifts, man.
Sounds good.
And then now here I am, not as athletic at all.
Well,
But I'm a hybrid, and that's why I said I don't identify as a bodybuilder, right? Like I don't want to just be good at one thing. I want to be good at all of them. And so I'm a little like also too on the fence about that whole jack of all. I think you should be a jack of all, and then you'll find organically that one thing you want to be the best at.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, how are you gonna have that clarity?
I want to speak on. I'm sorry, I've been questioning that competitiveness.
Yeah.
So I've actually been questioning. Someone asked me what's my drive, and I would consider it, and I've been thinking about it, and that's one of the two reasons. That's something I found that I was actually born with. Well, my mom says there was not a single point where I wasn't competitive. I don't know if it's similarity to you.
Probably.
Do you think that's something that can be hereditary, or do you think that's something that has to be learned?
That's a great question, man. Great question.
I've been spending the last 3 days trying.
I will say my
find-
dad doesn't have it. I'm very different than my father.
Uh-huh.
And I'm very different from both of my brothers. I think my little brother, we look a lot more alike. We're both much more similar, but I don't really see me in that aspect in any of my siblings or family. So I don't think it is hereditary. I think it's an underdog mentality, maybe.
I think
it's
it's a
something
gift.
learned.
I think it's a gift. Being competitive. Not everybody's competitive, and not everybody has that, like strong competitiveness in them. But it is also a very strong tool that can, be if it's misused, then it can be a bad thing.
I was gonna say because it's a
can,
double-edged sword.
But if you have it,
I can tell Mike
please-
wants to say
please
something.
If you
fucking
have
use
it, if you have it, you
Fucking
gotta use it. Yes,
Oh, okay.
because not everybody has it.
Let me ask you
But
this,
it's
right?
also something that's learned.
Why do you guys feel like you always need to win? What are you winning for? What is the competition?
So on his point, Sadura, I would say blessing and a curse. And my wife has it too. It's just I have ADHD, as does my wife. So imagine that freaking dynamic at our house. We're both alphas, you know.
Yeah.
But it can be a curse because if you're not careful, then you're never satisfied with where you are. And you ever hear like the saying, like, if you have anxiety and you're living in the future, if you have depression, you're living in the past, and if you have peace and you're living in the present. We don't live enough in the present enough as super high achievers. And so you're almost always just looking to the next thing. And so how it's hard to have clarity that way. It's hard to ever like be happy in the moment that way. On your day off, sometimes you can't stop but think you should be doing more. So it's a blessing and a curse. And if you're not careful, then it can roll your life. And like, imagine living your whole life like that. Then you never enjoyed a moment of your life. You never felt like you got there.
Yeah.
So like, I think goal setting is very important if you have that drive, because then you can at least like know those milestones.
It's easier to build like the path for it.
Right.
Can you repeat that? Well, so it's living in the present is peaceful. Where past is
Future is
Depression,
anxiety.
future.
Depression is past.
anxiety.
Right, right,
I
right.
know what the phrase.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
is, that one.
But that makes a
great.
lot of
Yeah, holy
sense.
shit,
I hate losing. That's my answer.
I
Why do
want
you
your
hate
take.
losing?
I said my
What?
take.
Why do you
What's
hate
your thought
losing?
on what he said?
What?
Why do you hate losing?
I hate the idea that someone can do better than me.
Why?
Why?
What makes
Because I
them?
believe I can be great, and for someone to beat me means that I did something wrong. If someone outworked me, right, there are going to be people more talented than me, but I never want to get outworked.
Well said.
That's
Well
something
said.
that I can control, and if you're outworking me, I have a problem. It bugs me inside, you know. So, what it is that bugs me? Trying to find that answer. But I do not want to lose to you. I don't want to lose to Mitch. I don't want to lose to Saj.
Good luck with that.
And I never want to.
Good luck with
Just
that.
kidding, just
Yeah,
kidding.
I like it. Good luck with that.
Now you sound like a smart kid, man.
That's
Notice,
confidence.
notice how I didn't say Sadula.
I'm gonna fucking beat you
Oh, hold on. I need to know more about the brother dynamic. Like, who's the big dog? Who's the alpha?
What?
I bitch him every
You can
time.
already
What he
tell.
did us?
You
You can already tell.
Yeah, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Come on.
Look at this
What?
shit.
What? All he ever says is he preaches insecurity. That's all you ever say.
I'll
What?
just throw me one. Throw me in
What?
ones with anything, and Josh will
What?
come out on top.
Oh yeah.
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 Anything
Sure.
but soccer.
And what's the brother's name in Georgia?
Anything but
His name's
soccer.
Georgie.
You think he can beat me?
Oh,
Georgie from Georgia. And how old is he?
He's what is he? 20.
Same
Yeah,
age, same
he-
age, same
So
I
age.
he
have a
come
twin,
and
yeah.
roll the roost, or
They're twins.
you guys are twins?
Dude,
Yeah, I have a
you don't
twin,
know
yeah.
what it's like
Huh.
being the smarter, the stronger,
You're not
the
smarter.
faster.
You're not
Yo, he
smarter.
made more shots the other day in basketball.
The only thing you can do is wrestle.
I get it.
bro.
I get it.
The only thing
I,
you
no,
can
but
do
when
is
we play
wrestle.
ones, I always clamp him up.
Yeah.
I always beat him in ones. in
Saj, I
basketball.
always beat you as a kid.
As a
Always.
kid, yeah,
Still
as a
now.
kid, I
You
was
can
a
see
weak.
that.
I love this
pussy.
rivalry. This is
No, so here's
great.
the thing. I won't disagree with that. As a kid, I was a weak, shriveling little pussy.
Yeah,
Now
that's
that
true.
now that I'm
That's
now that
true.
I'm here, at different levels, I'll wipe you in anything.
What can you beat me at?
Everything
Okay.
but soccer.
Everything. Define
Matter of
everything.
fact, we'll test this
Define
shit out after
everything.
the podcast.
Define everything. Just give me two.
Any sport
give
that's
me
not
two.
soccer or ping pong, if you want to count ping pong.
What sport have you ever beat me at?
I don't get it.
Basketball or
Basketball and
This is
football.
great.
Okay.
You got brothers?
Oh my god.
No, I don't.
Are you
Like,
serious?
Get it.
I like step-siblings, but they're
Alright,
younger.
let's look
You're
past
just
this.
taller,
Let's
but I
look past
beat you,
this.
bro.
Let's look past this.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I remember me and my brother were like literally like that too.
Yeah.
I feel like it got to a point where it wasn't. I guess we didn't really have to talk like back and forth, saying like, "Oh, I'm better" or "You're better," that kind of stuff. But I remember that, like, whenever we did something together that involved me being against him, it was always like head-to-head competition.
That's having a brother, man. That's part of life. Like,
Domination.
It
Yeah.
is really like the driving factor that moves both of you up. That's why having siblings, especially if it's like both men and stuff, is a very, very good driving factor.
yeah, I'm one of 5, so I have like a healthy mix, I guess.
Holy shit.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
All-
I'm the middle
all
child.
son?
No, it's
All
boy, girl, me, girl, boy.
Damn.
Yeah.
Right in the middle.
And at a certain point when I was a teenager, I was able to kind of like manhandle my older brother. I almost wish I had like a real strong older brother who used to slap me
too, bro.
around. You
Yeah,
know what I
me too,
mean?
bro.
I feel like it would have made me even tougher, you know?
Yeah, me too, bro.
Don't you think that also almost?
He wants to come over and slap you around right now.
Yeah, I wouldn't slap him. Like,
I was gonna say, don't you think that also, like manifests the competitiveness to reality, and also something that also like awakes that competitiveness that you have in you?
I think it's important.
more.
Yeah, you need
Yeah.
to have like an arch nemesis. Even if they're a good guy, right? Like I remember this guy, 2 guys, Justin in my class. He used to crush on his cousin, but he was always kind of like a douche, and he was just like a little harder than I was in high school.
Why did you need to mention?
I'm sorry. My brain did not process that. He used to crush on his cousin?
His cousin, it was a girl.
Ooh.
Did that not make sense?
No,
Wait,
wait,
you
he
did or
crushed
he
the ball. Well, it makes
No, I used to
sense. It doesn't
have
make
a
it any
crush
better.
on his cousin.
Yeah, that doesn't make it any better though. Like that just
My friend?
your friend had a crush.
No, I had a crush on Justin's cousin.
Oh my god.
So Justin was my
I
friend.
thought you were saying Justin had a crush on his cousin.
Oh no! Oh, did I word that weird?
No, you didn't. You didn't.
It was my
a mistake.
articulation.
Yeah,
I don't know.
you
I
just
don't know what I
said
said.
Oh, what the fuck?
But anyway, so this kid, he's good, still a good friend of mine. He's in the Navy, you know. But he was just always a little harder, a little more like abrasive, you know. And I was like, I'm still more on the sensitive side as guys go, and so he would just kind of like bully you if you let him. And eventually, like, I just remember, so it was good, friendly competition. It was good for me. And then this other guy, Chad, he was on an opposing basketball team, and he would crush my ass in my younger years on the team. And over the summer when I would practice, I would just the whole time I'm just like, fuck you, Chad. I'm gonna come back and beat you. And I did eventually. You know, I put on weight and I would crush him down low. But I think that's important to have that like underdog mentality.
That and the fact that it's healthy competition.
Yeah.
Like, you'll see me and Josh have like little spurts like that, but it's the same thing with me and Sadula mentioned. Like it's a double-edged sword. It's a blessing and a curse. Like if you're too competitive, and then you what you'll do is you often compare yourself to way too many people,
Which
and
is terrible, right?
Exactly. Like
Yeah.
that alone speaks for itself. So you need to be able to balance it, and it needs to be healthy. Like with my friend, every time we go to the gym together, right? Like we always push each other to put on more weight and really push ourselves further. Not in a rivalry way, just in a competition way, but in the back of our head, it's still the idea of like I want to be stronger than this person.
Right.
So,
And I'm sure you guys have heard you become an average of the 5 people you hang around the most. This seems like a pretty good room. You all seem like you have your heads level. You know, you got priorities, you got ambition, and so you want to surround yourself with people that are better than you. And that's an uncomfortable thing to do. But if you're not, and you're always downplaying, then you're not going to grow.
yeah, that's the hardest part about it. A lot of people want to look like
I
they're the
struggle with
best. They're the big.
Me too.
And,
Of course.
you know, it sucks when you're the
Of course, man.
best one and
Other
you're-
dudes are going to intimidate you. Other dudes are bigger than you, or they have more going on, or maybe they make more money. You don't know, but like it's important to be around people like that.
Yeah, it's fine because the
How
one
are
that
you
typically
able
has
to
to
find
say
your
it is
go-to friends, the ones that you speak on? Because I think that's right now is we're on the largest loneliness crisis, especially our age. But I don't even know if that resembles.
What do you mean? Just because of like social media and people
Social media-
distance themselves
social
and
media
like
technology
that,
has
having
made
that hard
us-
face at school or
exactly.
whatever, right? Like,
Exactly. We very thankfully have found our group, but I know a lot of people that don't.
well, at a young age, that's important. And I have my core group, and I was lucky I went to a private school, and you know, we grew up together. It was a Christian school, which I got kicked out of before my senior year. That's a whole nother story. But I'm still in touch with that group of like 5 people, and it's just like, oh, they're always driving themselves. They're getting PhDs. They're always just like getting new certifications and just like working to better themselves. And then you know, Gar Gar he doesn't look approachable, right? Like who met him? You met him? You met him at the NAC, right?
Yeah.
Right. And did I see a
sling, thank
comment
God.
or something? I saw a comment or something, or maybe like it was in a video, and one of you guys congratulated him on having the balls to approach Gar in the first place.
I was literally just gonna mention that too.
Yeah,
As we said that, Gar goes, the only reason why I approached me is because of my arm.
Oh, because you didn't
Yeah, I
swing.
said I was in the
He's an injured bird. Like
That's how I introduced them. I was like, props to Fricker for even coming up to me.
Yeah,
in the
no,
first
really,
place.
that's
Wait,
right.
Frigga, is that how you felt or no?
What?
Like you approached him because he
Well,
had
at first, like, he was intimidated. It wasn't even about the sling. Like, what happened was, I saw him working out in the first place. He did look intimidating, not gonna lie. But I saw him, this woman left her phone on, like, the bench, and he got off the treadmill, and, because she was about to leave, and he grabbed her phone, and they chased after her, and, like, gave her her phone. And he came back, hopped on the treadmill next to me. And at the time, I was doing a 30-day challenge where I talked to one new person every day.
Nice.
And he was the first day. He's the first guy I ever talked to. I was like, fuck it. Yo, dude, what you do is actually pretty nice of you. He's like, oh, yeah. He's like, yeah. and then he was on the podcast, and then boom, now we're here. Now
That's
you're
awesome.
here.
That's awesome, man. But that's organic like chemistry. You know, and that's super wholesome. I mean, that's how I mean. I'm not looking to make new friends. I really am not. I've been that guy to have a million friends. And actually, when I got my DUI years and years ago, it made me realize that like not all friends, just because it's like a drinking buddy or a hangout buddy, doesn't mean it's a friend. Because like, where do all those people go when you're not able to show up anymore, you know, and they have to go out of their way to like make time for you. And so now like I keep the smallest circles possible. I'm not looking to make new friends, but Gar was an organic. You know, my buddy Jay, who owns a business in town, hooked us up. Super great guy. He just started his own podcast. You know, we all got a collab, but And he hooked me up with Gar, and then me and Gar, he's just like, he's got a big heart. He's freaking original. He's genuine, which is hard to find in big masculine motherfuckers. You know what I mean? Everybody just always trying to act tough, act cool. Like I say, fuck that. I say, be goofy, be retarded, and make friends with people who you wanna
Be yourself.
be
How about you just
associated
be
with.
yourself? Like, there's been like this like be mysterious type.
Especially as you're younger, you know, like
yeah.
everybody, dude. I hate for you the age you're all at. I can't wait till you're 30. You're gonna love it.
Yeah.
You're gonna love
I
it.
hope you're right.
A little more wisdom, a little less facade, a little less BS, a little less. I don't know.
Well, you're technically hitting the age where you care most about people's opinions, according to science.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
But then you start once you
Really?
hit as a child you don't care. Then you become
Well,
that age where
teenager.
financial status.
Teenager, that's
is everything,
brutal. Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Around his age is when financial
Him.
status matters and all this status, blah blah
I
blah.
guess so.
Really?
But then once you hit 60, you realize none of it mattered at all,
Mm.
and no one ever cared about you because they cared
Yeah,
about
that
themselves.
makes sense. But your circle when you're 30, I would assume, is a lot smaller than when it is as a
Oh,
teenager.
for sure. Right?
So I would think maybe that has a. Well, I'm. Listen, I'm not gonna. dive
I
into-
think I would agree that that's probably traditionally correct, but I would say like being a business owner, and I think some of you guys in this room, I don't know, I know you're doing the podcast stuff and all that, and that's
I
technically
have
a
a
business.
car
Go
detailing
ahead.
business, so.
Oh, that's right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
And how long have you been doing that now? Is it a year?
Almost a year. It's gonna be a year in August.
And is that full time? You doing other stuff on the side?
Well, obviously the podcast, fitness, car detailing, but you know, it's the type of thing where it kind of depends on how many customers you get, but
Right.
eventually I'm guessing
wanna
it will
transition
get to a point
full-time,
where
right.
it will be like one of the priorities for sure.
Right. And I think any business owner, like your emotional development, if it's not, you should. I don't know if you guys know any statistics about like the amount of business owners who fail first off, and then have like substance abuse issues, mental illness, stuff like that. It's not like you either have to figure the heck out and get in touch with yourself and stay on top of your mental and physical well-being, or you're going to fizzle out. You're going to fade. And so I think as business owners, you're kind of like on an accelerated timeline as far as all of the, like you were just talking about, as far as caring about what people think. As a business owner, you kind of got to learn not to.
Absolutely.
Very early on.
Yeah, you're so right, because if I need to approach somebody, like sometimes I need to tell them like about my business, or like tell them like to give me a review or whatever. It's so many thoughts that go in the back of your mind on why you shouldn't do it, or like talk yourself out of it. But whenever you do it, it's like a step closer to having that mentality that no matter like who declines you or who says no, it doesn't matter. You just have to keep trying.
Can't take it personal.
Yeah.
And my wife would say this. She would say, and it's very important to be able to separate your personal emotions, right, and like business owner, and
That's
she's
right.
like a
So
freaking
right.
machine, dude. She can just like cut it off, and she just gets this like stone cold look on her face, and she's just the most professional, but also like stone cold killer when she needs to be. But then like she can also be super personal, personable. And so yeah, and there's gonna come a time for you. Just a little bit of advice for you. There's gonna come a time in any industry for any business owner where you need to be either be all in or not. And what I mean by that is just like, you might have some side hustles on the side because your business is slowly growing. You might not have enough money to make ends meet, but eventually you're gonna have to make a decision like, am I 100% in or not? And then once you commit 100%, your business is gonna grow faster because now you're just gonna be like, and something I will say to everybody is you need to knock on every door, if that makes sense. So like, just keep throwing shit at the wall until something sticks. And once you commit 100%, your business is guaranteed, because then you're sitting there with your extra time, instead of making money for somebody else and a little bit for you, you're gonna be sitting there like brainstorming, what can I do differently? What can I do more of or less of? How else can I my shoulder's too broad, if it just fell on it like a table. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
That is.
That was do you know Alex Ramosi? I'm assuming.
I think that sounds so familiar.
What?
Did we already talk about him? Is that the YouTube guy you were telling me about?
I definitely did. Yeah.
Yeah. You had him on as a guest, right?
Oh
No?
no, that was Roman Sharp.
I recognize the name, but no.
Imagine, yo,
He's
come
actually
on.
in the
Where's he at? Alex Ramosi, where you at?
Hey, should give him a shout out and invite him right
He
now.
actually started by Gym Launch. Have you ever heard of Gym Launch?
Gym launch?
No. Still
What
up
is
and
it?
running.
He recently started like the school, right? The school
Yeah, he
thing.
started
With the
school.
K.
Is he a local guy?
Basically- No.
Okay. All right.
He's
Tell me who he is, and then maybe it'll ring a
projected
bell.
to be a billionaire in the next couple of years. All right?
Okay.
But he started as actually a gym owner, physical space landing. But I think you could definitely, if I recommend anyone upon you, especially since he's in your niche, absolutely check him out after this.
Alex
I was listening
Ramosi.
to his podcast today, and it was basically the levels of preparation. And what I mean by that is when you realize you can't ever be in jack of all trades. Once you realize how much preparation comes into being the best at just one thing, I promise you, the best auto detailer is doing 100 times more than you right now.
Yeah.
And that's the preparation it takes.
That
Yeah,
cuts
no.
deep.
It is. It is. 10. It's not 2 times more. It's not 3 times. It's 100 times more. You realize how much like he was talking to me, especially for YouTube, right? Just to give a measure of how fucking shitty we are. I'll tell you straight up. He said that he was in a business meeting. He's a fitness content creator. I'm sorry, but he was in a meeting with some of the most well-known YouTubers out there, and they were asking like, how long does it take to prepare a YouTube video for them? They spend 2 weeks of 12 hours preparing for one 15-minute video. 12 hours for 2 weeks just to prepare one video for 15 minutes. You have to realize how much work it takes to just be the best at something. And once you realize that, you realize you can't be the best at more than 2.
100%.
Yeah.
It's true. Seriously.
There's levels to this.
Well, and that's why it's so important. We were talking a little bit earlier. You're like, oh, you create the website too. You do it all. And like, yeah, I think it's important as a business owner to learn how to do it all, and then figure out which ones you can outsource or who you can hire to do that, because your time is usually going to be spent elsewhere where your strengths you can really, build.
I'd actually love to hear your thoughts on outsourcing. How did you approach it? When should you be outsourcing? When should you not?
Well, at the beginning of my business, I outsourced sometimes just because I didn't have time for it. And then once I had the time, I wanted to learn it myself. And then once you're able to, it's easier for you to pay somebody else to do something or outsource once you understand all what goes into it. It's like I don't know. It's a concept of like, you're a movie star and you buy a business that you know nothing about, and then you try to make it successful, but a lot of shit's gonna slip through the cracks, if that makes sense. I don't know.
No, but yeah, I got the message.
So I think it's important to try it yourself, try to learn it. If it's absolutely makes you miserable, then outsource it. And if it's not worth your time and it could be spent elsewhere, outsource it. Which is why actually one of the guys that works for me, Lance. He not only is a personal trainer, but I also have him doing extra work for me. One of the things being content creation for the business, because I want to spend I hate socials, dude. But I've learned it and I'm getting good at it. And so like I'm focusing my social media content energy on the podcast, and now I'm having him do it for the business. Mm-hmm. And I already got one lead over the last 2 weeks just from us being more active on socials.
Yeah,
That's
that's
awesome.
great.
And so it's already paid
That's the start.
for itself. Yeah, 100%. So that's my views. Yeah.
So you mentioned the DUI a lot. When was this? Like
Yeah.
when you were 21 or?
I think it was 2018.
Were you like? Did you used to live that quote unquote degenerate lifestyle where you're like?
I wouldn't say
every other
degenerate, but yeah,
Every other
I was,
night.
I was a bartender. Yeah, I was in the industry,
Okay.
you know.
What was the number one thing that got you out of that? Would you say?
A bad acid trip.
Really?
Yeah.
Whatever gets
Yeah, you
the
gotta
juice
explain.
done.
No, you gotta explain
Yeah.
that.
What happened?
Well, so I don't condone any drugs or anything, but I used to dabble with some things, and I was at a we call it fam squad, right? It's like a big group of us from high school, girls, gals, all this, that, and third. We'd get together 1-2 times a year for different trips. My brother had just attempted suicide, and I was not living a healthy lifestyle. And at the back of my mind, like I knew I wasn't doing what I needed
Yeah,
to be.
that's fucking.
And so, and there were acid tabs, and I was tripping, and I just had these like lucid visions, and just realized that I was mortal. I don't know what you know about hallucinogenics, but like it removes your ego per se.
Really?
Anybody ever read Green Lights by Matthew McConaughey? He did like I think it was peyote
I've heard
trip.
of the book though.
It's a great book, great read. He did like
yeah?
a peyote trip, yeah. In Go ahead.
I was just gonna ask what it's about.
And it's about his life and his views and his story.
Does it have something related to do like those heavy drugs? Is that
Well,
what
there was one part in there where he I think he like stripped naked and walked into like the Brazilian jungle or something, and he was like tripping peyote or something. I don't know what he did. And he just like explains the process. And so if you had listened to it, then you would know. But anyway, so it removes your ego. It's almost like a dream where like you see yourself laying in bed. You see yourself from the outside in. And so it removes like all your ego, all your trappings, all your confidence, right? Anyway, so after that, I just realized that I was mortal, I was gonna die, and that I didn't want to die the way I was. And so then like after that, I just turned my life around, and realized how short life is, how fleeting it is, and I feel like I had a lot of years to make up for it. And so ever since, I just been like freaking throwing shit at the wall, seeing what sticks, you know?
Wait, so when you take the drug, you don't feel like you're mortal? I'm kind of confused how you connected it.
As far as the acid went, when you take the drug, like, you do it to enjoy it, but I did not enjoy it because I wasn't in the right mental space. And so it just, if you were enjoying it and just chilling, like you're going to be looking at your jeans and you see every single thread, or you're going to like look at a tree and you're going to see every single vein in that leaf, and you're just going to like really in touch with your senses, right? But me, I had like these crazy visions of like, I'm not even gonna go into all that. That was dark, man. But then afterwards, I just realized like I didn't want to do what I was doing. I wanted to do more.
I can
Hey,
speak
if it's what it took, that's what it took.
Yeah,
from
I mean,
respect.
experience.
I mean-
Yeah, when I took that edible in 9th grade, I was seeing shit, dude.
edibles.
Edibles don't really make you see shit.
No,
though.
I don't.
It's different, but like you could relate it a little bit.
I'm joking.
Oh, you never did an edible?
No, well, it's a
Oh,
long
nice.
story. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's a
Oh,
long
see, that's scary, sketchy. Yeah, screw that. But yeah, I think I answered your question.
Yeah, very
I
well.
talk too much.
mean,
Everybody, cut in.
Well, I'm just.
How'd you? I was gonna say like I don't want to have to like go to the.
No,
topic.
you don't have
That's
to.
Too sensitive.
Right.
But I was just gonna ask like, what would be your advice to those that are like struggling with that type of stuff?
Take a bad acid.
Take a badass trivia.
No. I mean,
more-
have you ever heard? Oh man, have you ever heard of microdosing? With like
Micro-
mushrooms,
What is it?
mushrooms, hallucinogenic mushrooms.
Are we about to talk about like DMT and shit? Ayahuasca?
You ever watch the show How to Change Your Mind on Netflix?
Let's change your mind. No.
So I think there's like 6 episodes. It dives into like 6 different hallucinogenic drugs, and there's all this research. Go watch the show. It's incredible. I'm not a drug user. Like, I'm not advocating for getting like going and tripping and stuff, but like there's an episode on like DMT, episode on psilocybin, which is the mushroom. There's an episode on, I don't remember all the other ones. Peyote is one, I think, from the desert. I don't know where, but and there's one psilocybin, and like they use it in therapy for people that have like PTSD or like OCD. You know, those people with like tics, they have to do like something 10 times. Like if I were to take my hand off and like put it down, they'd be like, oh no, that ain't right, that ain't right, that ain't right, that ain't right, and it affects your life. And like there's this just crazy
Oh, yeah.
research on it where microdosing on psilocybin will help you kind of get outside of your head. It'll help you essentially see yourself from the outside in and help you correct any issues or any weaknesses that you have, if that
You
makes
would
sense.
just like look at yourself objectively.
Yeah.
You think people can just do that without drugs?
I think, but that's, I think emotional intelligence is extremely important. So read. I think therapy. Anybody do therapy? Anybody ever been in therapy?
No, I have not.
The gym is my therapy.
Yeah. Gym's good therapy, you know, and healthy lifestyles are good therapy. But being in touch with like any past childhood traumas or any issues that you have, journaling's very important. It's almost like therapy. It's like self therapy. So when you write down about what emotions you're feeling, it will sometimes you know it in your head.
Like it leaves you, and it's like.
And you're reading it as if someone else wrote it, right? Like so, journaling, like you're able to like write down. Okay, maybe you're in a bad mood, you don't know why. So sit down, write down about. Okay, so this happened.
I think it frees you almost. It's like it's like in there, and then it just kind of leaves you when you write it down.
And there's some really good books out there too on it. How to Unfuck Yourself by Gary Bishop. The Mountain Is You by somebody.
You read that, right?
The Mountain Is You, phenomenal book. Then there's another one. Daring Greatly, I think, is another one. All emotional intelligence books, and there's absolutely drug-free ways to self-actualize.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's this one book, Emotional Intelligence 2.0.
And you can cut that whole drug segment out if you want. I don't want to like send a message out there for people that I'm not condoning drugs. I just that was my past experiences.
I wouldn't even mind like experimenting with that type of stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
Here's one.
Don't do it because of me, but I'm not telling you not to do it either.
To each your own.
Right.
The reason why I ask that question is because I feel like a lot of people don't even know what they're getting into, and it's just a good thing for somebody that went through it to tell them on like how it is, because a lot of people really go into it not knowing anything and not even having a fear of understanding what it can cause. That's
it's
why
not an
I asked
addictive
that
drug or
question.
anything. You know, it's the mushrooms are. I wouldn't recommend acid, but the mushroom is it's a natural plant. There's nothing done to it. You just eat it.
Yeah.
It's a God-given thing.
I'm really impressed with how fucking deep your bag is with these books. Of one. Like,
Yeah,
where
bro.
do you like? How did you?
To the first, and then part of that, I think there was a question earlier about like how did I change my ways, right? Get on track, and so the acid trip was just a part of it. But then after that, then I dove into reading,
Educated.
yeah, reading and podcasts. You can't place enough value on that. And I will say that between that bad trip, that was like the onset, but then just reading books and getting educated on things that I wanted, that will set you up for success. And then when you see an opportunity, you're in the right mindset, you know what to look for. You'll see that opportunity when it comes your way, which is what I do with Blaakout training. But if you're not emotionally intelligent, if you're not paying attention, if you're not looking for the opportunity, it'll pass you the fuck by.
Yeah.
So, Unfuck Yourself by Gary John Bishop, that was one of the game changers.
So what thought about just to clear your mind and see the opportunities?
Kinda, yeah. It's been so long. I've reread it like two or three
of course,
times,
but
I couldn't tell you exactly every topic they touched on. Very mindset, driven. But then,
what would you say? How do you identify the opportunities so it doesn't pass by you? What do you practice or do or have learned?
well, there's like a saying
to-
out there.
to
They say
identify
success is like everybody's yawning. Everybody needs more coffee. Success, either that or I'm boring. Success is like the combination of luck and preparation, right? So essentially, like you just need to be in the right mindset to know that you want to improve and do something. Kind of have an idea of what that is, and then just like pay attention to what's happening in your life. Like I don't know, it's a tough question to
it's
answer.
also taking more opportunities as you go on. Just really accepting many things just for the sake of experience and understanding on, like, kind of like what you said. Just throw the balls and see what sticks.
Yeah, right, something
Maybe
like
that
that.
wasn't
Yeah.
relevant,
No, but that's
but
it.
yeah,
That's it.
see what sticks. Yeah.
Yeah. Be a yes man, like that show with that movie with Jim Carrey. Remember how he like can't say no
heard
for a
of that,
day?
Super uncultured man.
Yeah, that's all right. I'm older than you too, like. But be a yes man.
When you were talking about like going outside yourself and like looking at yourself objectively, like when I used to meditate like for 20-30 minutes a day,
Highly recommend meditation.
I
too.
used to really get outside of myself and really just, because I used to just observe myself, like, you know what I mean? I was not the one breathing, I was observing my body breathing.
That's beautiful.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And, like,
I
that's, like,
meditated very religiously for a year and a half.
And sometimes I'd be in a meditation for like so long, like I can't get out. You mean I get trapped in it, but it's like I don't want to get out of it because I
Right.
feel so in like flow, and,
Right.
and that's like where you kind of self-actualize and dissolve. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think people can learn how to do those things with their activities and their tasks as well if they're dissolved into it. You know what I mean?
And so I'm glad you brought that up because that's another incredible way, drug-free, right? Like just like the journaling, just like the reading, emotional intelligence, but also meditation. Once you do it consistently, maybe 2 weeks, people think it's like, oh, a spiritual thing. It's more of just like a in tune with yourself and your surroundings thing.
Being present. locked
Present.
into the present.
Right. And so like once you do it consistently, you can actually call. I don't know about you, but I would, say I was stressed out, busy day, trying to crush the rush at the bar, and I'm getting a little overwhelmed. I would be able to call upon that like meditation vibe and just take a couple deep breaths, listen to the sounds around me, count my breaths for a second, and then boom, I'm just like peaceful again.
Yeah, because I see like all those thoughts that we have in our minds, especially with people like you said you have like ADHD.
Yeah.
Like you see so many clouds pass by, and like you focus on that big dark cloud. It's like off in the distance, and you won't keep your eye off. It's like when people have intrusive thoughts, they can't keep their eye off that like dark cloud. It's like not even gonna touch you. You know what I mean?
Which brings me into the last thing I wanted to say about this like a whole cluster is gratitude. So important. I try to say 3 things that I'm or write it down that I'm grateful for every day, and when you do that, your mindset will just be so much more positive every day. And my wife likes to pair that with not just 3 things you're grateful for, but 3 emotions that are related to what you're grateful for. And I think that's
Like
very
me,
valuable.
Why is it that when he steals your line, you don't flip your shit? But when
I saw him over there
when
doing
I
something.
do-
No,
When-
we're twins.
It's because my biceps are
Twins.
bigger.
Twins. I have
Wait, what do you mean the emotion in the?
So just let's say let's try to. Okay, so I'm grateful for my wife. I'm grateful for my team that's working for me, and I'm grateful for
Roasting
that
pig.
delicious dinner I had last night. Right? What? Right?
Yo, it's funny because I was actually gonna say that.
But that's 3 things you're grateful for. But then okay, I'm grateful for my wife because she, texts me during the day to make me feel cared for, or she
Oh,
goes out of her. But I'm grateful for my team because they're helping me build my dream. I'm grateful for what was the 3rd thing I said?
roasting pig.
What?
Roasting pig.
Roasting pig?
Well,
that's funny.
Slow down when
Roasting
you
pig.
Oh, yeah, I'm grateful for Roasting Pig because they had me on that show and they helped me share some valuable experiences that I've been through to change people, hopefully, influence people
Right.
towards something good.
Oh,
Right?
I might have
so-
to implement that. That's
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah, it's great.
I forget to write because statements after the I am grateful statements.
It helps.
So,
It
I
definitely
think that
makes a
definitely does
difference.
help,
It does
yeah.
make a difference
What
because then you
happens
get
when
brought
there's-
back to that emotion too.
What happens
When you
when
just
there's
say I am
multiple
grateful, it's kind of like you just say it, but it's like go deeper than that. It's like shallow. You know what I mean? Go deeper than that.
Definitely makes a difference.
Say because and the
Yeah.
why behind it.
What happens when there's multiple things in your mind, like multiple becauses or reasons for it?
You write 'em
just use all of them?
Yeah, I mean, don't read too much into it. Just the first one that comes to
Yeah,
your mind,
that's
just write it
honestly
down.
fair.
Yeah, don't read
Obviously,
too much.
that's
As long as you're
fair.
doing it, you know what I mean?
That's fair. That's a really good point.
Another good book for you guys is what's it called? James Clear wrote it. It's
You
book
guys
on
did it?
Atomic Habits. Incredible book.
Oh,
if you
that's
implement that
amazing.
stuff, man, it's life changing.
Yeah.
I noticed that.
It's as
because
simple
I've
as
been
like building
implementing
habits. People think like building habits is sexy. It's not.
No,
It's not really sexy. It's like it's a repetitive. It's you're being persistent.
just like the
you-
gym,
Exactly.
microcosm of life. Just like
That's
the
a great
gym,
way to
you'll
put
only
it.
see that consistency when you show up day in and day out on the good and the bad, no matter how long, no matter how much of your heart's in it, no matter how motivated you are or aren't. It's a great microcosm for life.
100%.
Have you also
100%.
noticed that with your experience, people you train, maybe it's the consistency that they struggle with so much?
100%. Yeah. Nobody wants to do what I tell them.
So how do you keep them disciplined to stay consistent? Do you change things up in terms of making it a little easy? Maybe? 'Cause that's one thing he talks about: easy, attractive, all that type of stuff.
Meet them where they are, not where you want them to be. And if what you're doing isn't working, then YouTube other way or just freaking get creative.
Figure it out.
Then that's what my wife does with her education company. They specialize in mentoring and mindset, which is something I think you guys were both talking about earlier. She personally specializes in that, so she doesn't just teach kids. She teaches. She it's not like a tutor who shows up and teaches you whatever the school is, whatever's due that week for homework. She shows up. She learns how that kid learns, and then customizes her approach to that.
Dude, that's actually
That's
fucking
great.
fantastic.
Yeah, that is amazing.
And she's the best at what she does. That's why she's so successful. Shout out to you, baby.
Shout out.
I think
You watching this? Probably. Hopefully. More views, baby.
I think Gar told you that, right? Like the relationship, him and
Yeah.
his wife are like just very special.
Yeah,
I kind of want to ask you because we say this a lot that it really matters who you find as a partner in your life because that determines pretty much a lot of things in your life, especially from that time on. And can you just kind of tell us?
Because Gar said you guys have a
what is
really
that feeling
beautiful
like?
relationship.
Oh, it gets ugly too. We're very much alike, dude. We're both alphas. We're both ADHD. We're both Virgos. We're both
Virgos?
That's
That's a
September birthday and so on. I'm not. I don't. That's like the only sign I know actually, because it's mine. I'm not like a big astrology guy, but so we're very much alike, and that can be a problem. And we butt heads, man. We're both very opinionated people. But I will say, my last relationship, her family was all in the health, chiropractors, nurses, that stuff. And they wanted me to go back to school because I had dropped out to be a nurse or something along those lines. And so going from that, and then I launched my business, and they all tried to talk me out of it. But then once they saw that traction, they started being like, oh, I see the vision. Whereas my wife is a business, and also I'd get yelled at all the time because I'm always working. I'm always up late doing stuff, and she didn't understand it. Fast forward to my wife, and she's worse than I am. She works harder than I do. She pulls long hours, and she understands that it's not a 9 to 5. When you go home, you don't get to not think about work. That's all you think about. And so, very important. And I think we're gonna make it work long term, man. She's a crazy, beautiful psycho.
That's great.
I'm happy for you,
pretty
bro.
proud of
Thanks,
you.
man. Yeah. Yeah, I just got married last October.
Oh,
Congratulations.
I didn't think I'd ever get married, man. I didn't really believe in it. My parents got divorced, but when you meet the right one, you will know, guys.
I was just about to ask about the ring.
You will know, yeah.
How about
yeah.
this? How do you know it?
Well, the minute I saw her, I was talking. Who was I talking to about it? You? I'm not gonna say I love at first sight, but so she slid in my DMs. She was like, "Hey, so great to see another local business owner who's my age." And I was like, "Oh, you should come out to my business group, Next Gen Rotary. We're planning a block party." So she comes out, and she walks in, and she has like her backpack on and bright red lipstick, and she just like took control of the room. She's like an incredible public speaker. She's just like very informational, and articulate, and professional. And I was just looking at her speak like. And then I asked her out to help me plan the block party. I bought her pizza, and the rest is history. I like worked out with her for 3 months before I even got to take her on a date.
Really?
Yeah, she made me
You know,
wait
I
for
have
it.
a-
Yeah.
I have a similar thing where I took it really, really slow. With the same thing.
Super important, I think.
Maybe you think that's a big reason as to why.
I would
how
say
you're
so.
able to
Yeah,
find the right-
handsome guys are able to get it early on, usually, right? But here's the difference, though. My
You're a
wife.
handsome guy.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, that's what I'm saying. I'm relating all of this into the conversation, though. Like, my experience is usually hooking up early on and then exploring that.
Right.
And that was a back burner thing. We developed like friendship and learning each other's goals, ambitions,
Connecting
morals.
personality types first.
right before this physical. And so, and number one game changer is because she's a woman that knows what she wants. She sets guidelines, non-negotiables. I knew what the heck I was getting into before I ever dove in.
That's really.
She's a strong woman, and women aren't good at that. Women, especially younger women, they don't know that. They haven't had the life experience. But she's a different breed.
It's amazing.
That's awesome, man.
So find yourself one like that, boys.
I hope so.
Already have.
Oh yeah.
Hold on to it.
Oh yeah. You know.
Let's transition. And then
Let's bring
Yeah,
up the 5
what?
questions.
The 5
Yeah,
questions.
so we always finish with 5 questions for the guest, and then we also have a tradition where our previous guest is going to ask you a question, and therefore you're going to ask a question for the next guest, not knowing who
Okay,
it
cool.
is.
Love that.
So, what is your best advice to somebody in life? Not a very easy one, huh?
You know a lot about a lot of different things, so I know where this can go anywhere.
Read books.
Yeah.
What's the first thing that comes to mind when you have to give somebody best life advice? Something that's really gonna help them.
Just don't be open-minded and think long-term with every decision you make. Because when I was your guys' age and younger, I was just worried about the here and now.
Instant gratification type of thing.
Yeah. So you're not happiest when you get what you want. You're happiest when you're working for it.
Mhm.
So just always make sure you're working for something, because then you'll always have that deeper level of gratification, and you'll always be challenging yourself for that delayed gratification.
And to strive for something better.
Because what happens when you
Very
set
well
a goal and you complete it, you just set the next one.
You gotta. I'm not opposed either to there being like a little hiatus in between. I think it's important to like sometimes slow down and do nothing. I actually recently did that because I was having a hard time with clarity. And there were so many different things that I was battling to try to figure out, okay, so where do I invest my time? And so I had to slow down for like 2 weeks and stop taking on so much, and that's important.
What is it that keeps you going? What's your drive?
I want to create a family legacy. So I want my kids to grow up with like the mayor's son and be connected. I want my kids to be proud of our last name. I want to have a freaking library or at least like a park bench with my name on it one day.
That's so hard. That is so hard.
Oh, that is
My
that is
question, I actually had someone who said the exact same thing, right? At the end of the day, you have to realize that even the most famous people. Did you forget the Queen Elizabeth died?
No,
No.
no.
Well, she did die. When's the last time you thought of her?
I'm pretty sure I was watching that. There's a kind of
Never.
cool show on Netflix about the royal family. But I feel like I'm taking away from your
Yeah.
point, though.
So, there was an emperor, right? Conquered the world.
I haven't thought about it in a
No-
long
no
time.
one
Let me
fucks
just
with
say that.
numbers.
Right.
The reality is, people, no matter what you do, will never, I'm sorry, but 200 years from now, your name will be not necessarily forgotten, but will anyone remember anything of you? No. So when you say legacy, is it that idea, or is it the idea of making an impact towards the future of your family and just inspiring your kids in terms of, here's what I've done, I'm gonna pave the path forward, clear the path, be an
It's-
anti-amblo.
It's a healthy mix of the two, man, because I want my kids, ultimately the curse of being a parent is every kid is going to eventually hate their parent or think, you didn't do a good enough job. And I can
think so?
accept that. Yeah. None of you guys resent your parents for anything. You don't think like, oh, you guys didn't do enough for me in at least one
I
area.
had a mindset like that. I changed it though, and the sooner you change that, the better.
I've resented
You can't
my
hold
parents,
it.
though.
I
At one
listen.
point, I think kids, because they don't understand. You know what I mean? They don't look at it.
I'm grateful to my parents. They're very tough people. But there are things that I don't want to replicate in my family one day.
For sure,
You
that's
don't have
that's
to.
Yeah,
different.
that I can.
Right. And so
Doesn't mean you resent your parents for it.
there's some resentment.
Maybe resentment.
I'm
for
not
the
saying it's
action
healthy.
that
I'm
they-
not saying it's healthy.
How
It's
about
a
having
driving
the mindset
factor.
of it just happens for a reason, so you are the person that even knows not to do that.
Well, see, that's a good point because all my mistakes in my past and all that, I wouldn't change a thing because it's made me the person I am today, and I have authority to speak on topics that if I had grown up in a clean cut, easy upbringing, go straight to college, white picket fence, marriage, that I wouldn't be able to. So that's a great point, and I agree with you to an extent, right? But yeah, so it's a mixture of the two. I want to create financial legacy as well as I don't want to pass any past traumas or faults of my parents or myself on to my kids.
It's great.
That's very well.
What do you value the most in a person?
Any person, like just a random person,
Well, here's the thing. When you
a friend.
What does all your friends? What's a common characteristic in all of them?
Personal,
or, when
personal
you
development.
meet somebody and they have this characteristics, say loyalty, honesty, all that kind of stuff, you just value that so much in a person in general.
Can I say two
And any
things?
person. Oh yeah, sure.
Ambition and loyalty. Because if they don't have ambition, I don't want to be around them necessarily. Because I don't want to be hanging out with people that's settled, whether it be in a relationship or a job or whatever. And then loyalty, someone that sticks with you through the thick and the thin. And those guys from my high school who I still make time for on a weekly to monthly basis, they've seen me through the good and the bad, and they've always been there.
Yeah, I think that's very
That's hard.
important.
That's hard.
What is one problem that you see people face in today's society, and how do you think you can overcome that? It's a tough one,
These are
right?
great questions,
No,
guys.
thanks,
Great
thanks,
questions,
man.
guys.
You got as many times.
Can you
as
repeat the
want.
question one more time?
So, what is one problem that you see people facing in today's society, and how do you think you can overcome that?
I would say living your life like your loved ones or peers may think you should. So for some people,
Doing what you want rather than what somebody else wants you to do, or
yeah, building a life for yourself that you want, not maybe your preconceived notions of what it should be.
okay.
And I would relate that to like college versus, entrepreneurship and marriage versus waiting, and, things of that nature.
Yeah,
That's a
very
great
well
point.
said.
What is a negative thing that you hear from people that you completely disagree with? Because sometimes people say all kinds of stuff without even thinking.
A negative thing that people say that I disagree with.
These questions make everybody think.
They're good, man.
So,
Negative thing that I hate people say that I disagree with. This is going to be controversial in this group, especially the fact that you need to focus on one thing and just get your. You ever hear the 10,000 hour rule?
Yeah.
So like any professional sports player, piano.
You work on it for 10,000 hours straight.
Then if you at least have a little bit of
Desire,
actual
keep
God-given skill, then you can be the best at it in any industry or sport or whatever. I argue against that because people start that at such a young age. Parents are pushing, not all of them, but like I see it sometimes. Parents are pushing their kids to play baseball or whatever sport. Just 100%, all the camps, all the freaking boom, 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 and you never get to stop and like experience other things. So I say, try the jack of all approach first. Gain that clarity after you experience what you do and do not want, and then choose your one thing.
Yeah, I would agree with that,
Josh
too.
was telling me in the beginning too. Right. Yeah.
Keep your options open, but stay focused on something. Would you agree with that, or is
Yeah,
yours
100%.
different?
No, I
Okay.
agree with that.
And then our question is from a previous guest, Dom. Shout out. Did a
Shout out to him.
fantastic job. What's your I made it moment?
whew.
What was your? What was your?
If there was one, I made a moment, or what is gonna be your I made a moment?
Past I made it moment. When I learned how to manage my team. When I finally felt like a good boss, like I was providing value and I truly cared about them and wasn't just worried about how much money they could make me. And although I can't say I experienced a true, I made
That
it.
role of a leadership, right? Almost. Like
Yeah, and that was a huge pivotal point. And I will say that, but I'm looking for that next I made it moment.
I want to.
What do you think? What is it gonna be?
I want to get a house with my wife.
Before that, what do you think it took as a leader to say I made it? Like, what is a typical leader lack that you kind of what switched?
Learning that you need to invest in your people and truly care about them and play to their strengths, and take advantage of their strengths. I don't want my employees to all be the same. I don't want them to do it exactly as I do it. I want them to be different. I want them to play to their strengths, because they can make up for my weaknesses. And that when I learned that, and like sometimes giving to them, even if I'm not receiving anything back, that I would say that.
Yeah, I love it. It's amazing.
You guys are awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
What
For
is
you.
your question for the next guest?
Do I have to say it now, or can I text it to y'all? I want to think about it. I think I'll be able to make it more valuable if I text it to you guys.
Sounds good.
Just make sure Gar said that too, but he never
Did he?
texted.
That son of a gun. No, I got you guys. I'll think about it.
But you're not free yet. All right, we have this last thing, the ornament quote of the fucking day that we like the guests to read out.
Oh, nice. All right, quote of the fucking day. The world belongs to those who can keep doing without seeing the results of their doing. Unknown.
Yeah, I couldn't find.
That's good. I like
I'm
that.
sure everyone does that though.
What?
Like they always are going towards something that they really can't even see. No, they can see, but it's not manifested in physical.
Well, I mean, that's the difference between successful and not successful people is just keep, like I said, throwing shit at the wall or knocking on every door. Try everything. Don't be afraid to fail.
No one regrets hard work. They only regret the work they put it into. But you would never know that if you never did hard work.
Well said.
Wait, can you say that one more time?
The work they put into it.
Man, I said that once, and the way I put it, don't.
Don't make him say it again. Don't make him say it again. You can always change it in the captions at the bottom.
Podcast.
Yeah, right.
Yo, we can't even skip, bro. We have to watch it.
Yeah,
until
the
the end.
audience too. You guys have to
That's
go
the only
all
way it's gonna
way.
make
I
sense.
said it perfectly. I'm not gonna fuck it up.
Can I plug the businesses?
That means you don't understand it.
Yo, what are you talking, bro? Everyone, it's gonna be the first thing. All your links in the descriptions. For
Beautiful.
Everything, and have you set up the socials for?
It's all locked
For
in.
the lab.
Launch lab.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything's gonna be in the description.
Yeah, so we got Blaak_out_training. That's my company. Check it out. Also, www.blaakouttraining.com. And then my personal socials, Chip_off_the_old_Blaak. And then we got the Launch Lab Syndicate. I believe it's launch_lab_syndicate. Check them out, guys. Appreciate for having me on, guys.
Thank you
The
so
fact
much.
that you
man.
know all this is it's crazy.
Well, I don't know the YouTube and the TikToks. I don't remember
just
those.
send us a text.
Yeah.
That figured out.
And I'll send you the link trees because it's all linked in there, and that's easier.
All right. Well, with that being said, my final question
Shout
to
out.
you. Oh, fuck.
Oh yeah, shout out.
Love
Love your podcast.
by
Bye.
Tick Hillian. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Thank
thank you.
And we love
Thanks
you.
to Killian.
Tick Hillian. Yeah, he said that right. Yeah, shit.
Mhm.
Tick Hillian.
Mhm. And we love you, Tequila.
What did you want to say? One more?
My last question to you is: have you ever finished one of going through that at the very end of our podcast?
I've not.
No.
Nope, but I will after today.
So
Promise. Promise.
All right. Well, what we do is we like to finish off our episodes by saying our slogan, which is
Quickly before that. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
You're an excellent today.
Hopefully we
you.
can have you on again.
Yeah, please.
Absolutely.
Please. Be happy to.
Absolutely. We like to say, think big, grow big. So when I count down to 3, we're gonna
Think-
count it down.
yeah,
Go
the main
ahead and
camera.
say it. 1, 2, 3.
Think big, grow big.
Peace.